Good morning everyone, I am Abhishek Surana and I belong to 2018 batch of Indian Administrative Service. I am currently serving as Chief Executive Officer of Jila Parishad in Jodhpur. I am incredibly honored and privileged today to be here to share my experience of working in Indian Administrative Service and share my work with you. I am electrical engineer by training and before I joined the service, I have worked with 3 different companies in 3 different countries. 2 of these companies were my own companies, my own startups, which didn't really work out. This experience taught me that failure is an essential part of doing any business. Failure is just a temporary setback. It is not a permanent defeat. Failure teaches you about the shortcomings in your approach to any problems. It gives you some valuable lesson. The most important part of dealing with these failures of my 2 startups was I had to find where the mistakes in my approach was, and I had to work on those mistakes. I realized that what I really like to do was working with people, and I really like to work in India because I was working outside India before that. So that brought me back to civil services, and I felt that joining Indian Administrative Service has been one of the best decisions of my life. The reason I say so is, over the past 4 years that I have been in the service, the experiences have been really rewarding and really satisfying. You get to work with different set of stakeholders on variety of problems, such as some basic problems such as health and education, and some multidimensional problems like poverty, inequality. And this experience demands a lot of hard work, a lot of commitment, but in the end, the satisfaction that you get is really rewarding. I would share some of my experiences with you in due course. As an IAS officer, when I first got posted in Rajasthan, I was posted as probationer in the district called Bikaner. It's just a neighboring district to Jodhpur. After that, I was posted as subdivisional officer, SDM, at Govindgarh block in Jaipur, and then later again as SDM at a place called Mount Abu. It's a hill station in Rajasthan, in Sirohi district. And then later on, I was posted as currently where I am posted, Chief Executive Officer of Jila Parishad in Jodhpur. As some of you may realize, these 4 postings have been at very different geographies. I was working in a desert, then I was working in an area which was relatively plain, and then I was working in mountains, and then I again came back to desert. And working in very different cultures with different set of people. And over the time, the experiences that I gained, I have realized that as the theme of today's topic also is new dimensions. These experiences provide me an opportunity to explore many different dimensions. When we talk of any young bureaucrat or the experiences of any young officer, one of the first thing that we do in the government is, these days especially in the government, is you have to think really creatively, and you have to think out of the box to deal with any problem. Because the problems that you are facing sometimes are such that you cannot be prepared for it. I had one such experience when I was working in Bikaner. This was winters of 2019, and those of you who belong to Rajasthan may have heard of this thing called tiddi. There is something called locust. These locusts are basically like a grasshopper. They are not grasshoppers, but they are like grasshoppers. And in the winters of 2019, we were facing locust attacks from our western border. These locusts are actually very damaging to our crops, and they breed very fast. Within a span of few days, a locust can multiply 100 times. They give hundreds of thousands of eggs, and out of those eggs, many more locusts are there, and they are very damaging to the crops, which can impair our food security. So what was happening was, there were swarms of these locusts which were traveling from Horn of Africa to Iran, to Pakistan, and then to India. Now the problem we were facing was threefold. The first challenge was, these locust attack happens usually once in 2 or 3 decades. It's not like they happen every year. So the first challenge was there was no institutional knowledge. The reason was that those people in the government who had dealt with these attacks 25 years ago were no longer there. Many of them retired. Second, even the community knowledge was not there, because due to Indira Gandhi Canal, the geography of the western part of the Rajasthan has changed over the last 25 years, and the people were not ready for these locust attack. And the third problem was deficiency of resources. When you have to deal with locusts, you have to actually do a spraying of pesticides wherever they do the hatching. So for that you need large number of sprayers. The government did not had that. So with these problems, we had to immediately plan out our whatever our action plan was, and we had to deal with this problem. So what we did first was we mobilized local community. We told them about the problem. We created team of individuals who were posted in the border areas, and as soon as there was a movement of any locust swarm from across the border to India, our team used to run behind that swarm. Literally, we used to run behind that swarm in a jeep or in a car, and we used to check where their location was. And wherever they used to settle for the night, in the night they do the breeding, so wherever they used to settle for the night, that location was identified. Then we mobilized the local farmers. We asked them that they should provide us tractors with sprayers, and we provide them pesticide, and they brought their own water, and we mixed those pesticides and water, and all of us used to gather in the middle of night around 1 to 2 a.m. in the night, because before the dawn you have to do the spray. At dawn they will again start their movement to next place. So we all used to gather together and do the spraying part, and then our team used to get behind the swarm again and do the entire exercise again and again. This happened for over a period of 3 months, because we were facing a continuous movement of swarms from the western side. And this taught me that with a problem like locust swarms, which you cannot even think of when we were preparing for exam or when we were given training, we were never told that something like this could also happen. This was before COVID-19 happened. This is before COVID-19. COVID-19 happened afterward. So it provided an opportunity to think out of the box, to bring the community together and to fight a problem in a manner in which even local people were stakeholders, and in which entire administration was there. Together we were fighting the problem. The second important dimension when we work in government is to ensure that any solution that you provide, it should be inclusive. It should not discriminate based on any background, or based on background of any person, or based on background of any community. Because inclusion, social inclusion, and ensuring that the diversity is taken care of is one of the key parameters of any government program. COVID-19 provided many such opportunities where we had to go out of the way to ensure this inclusion. If you remember during the first wave of the COVID, the main challenge that all of us were facing was the internal migration that happened from cities to villages, from urban areas to rural areas. I was again posted in Bikaner at that time, and the problem there was a little bit different. The problem there was we had seasonal migrants from states of Punjab, Haryana, MP, who used to come to the command area where the canal was, for crop cutting. They used to come only for 1 month for crop cutting for the Rabi crop that happens in March. And if you can recall, it was during March that year so we had to then mobilize the local community. We had to mobilize again government staff, and we created quarantine centers, as we used to call them during the first wave, in the schools and in the local Anganwadis that were spread out across small villages, small dhanis in the desert. There we housed them. It was very difficult to keep them there. Every night one of these migrants was trying to run away. They used to think that we have put them in a jail, but it wasn't the case. To make them understand that it was for their own benefit, that they should stay there, we are providing them food, we are providing them health facilities, we even provided them psychological counseling in such far off places. And that was a time that made me realize that inclusion, and when we talk of delivering services to the people, it is important that there should be no discrimination based on where the people are coming from, whether they belong to local community or not. And we have to ensure as a citizen of this country that each and every person is important. We were also able, some of our businessmen were so resourceful, they got us oxygen from across the border, across the state. From Gujarat, from Jamnagar, they used their own contacts, they started using their own trucks and vehicles, transporters, and they started getting us oxygen from there. They had only one condition, that sir, you ensure that not a single person should suffer due to lack of oxygen. If there is any problem, you let us know. Another dimension that I feel when we talk of involving CSR and working for the people at last mile is ensuring citizen participation. Citizen participation not only ensures accountability, transparency, but it also fosters a sense of community ownership. For example, if any of you have been to Mount Abu, you might have seen that from the foothills to the town that is there in the mountains, it's a 23-kilometer stretch, and it is littered with a lot of plastic. And every time I used to go up or down the mountains, I used to feel very ashamed that any tourist that is coming to the place, he is seeing this plastic, and the image that he is taking back of this particular place is not really nice. So I felt that we have to do something about it, and I called a group of enthusiastic youngsters, and they took it up as a challenge. What they did was, they organized more than 50 different organizations, both government and private and NGOs in the town of Abu, and they decided that on a particular date at a particular time, more than 1,000 people would start cleaning the road, literally cleaning the road, right from Mount Abu to foothills. It's 23-kilometer long stretch. It's a huge mammoth exercise. I never felt that it could be done in a single day, but they decided to take it up as a challenge, and they actually challenged me कि sir हम इसको करके दिखाएंगे. And you'll be surprised to know, on the designated day, within 4 hours, we were able to collect entire garbage that was littered on the roadside from foothills to Mount Abu, and around 5 tons of garbage was collected. It was taken to the landfill to be segregated and later on to be disposed of. And an exercise which we felt that was impossible to be done was done in a whiff by a group of citizens, by a group of youngsters who were willing to take the ownership of that particular exercise. So experiences like these gives you an opportunity to work with citizens, to work with community, and to provide services, to provide service delivery, which otherwise you feel is almost impossible to do. It is very difficult, it is very hard sometimes. You have to manage a lot of politics, a lot of media. I haven't really talked about it because I really feel that especially politics and media are essential part of democracy. Many people will argue that they act as a hindrance, but I feel that they are not a hindrance, but they are rather in your support. You have to know how to use them in your own favor, and you have to deliver. The most important part is you have to deliver in challenging circumstances. I have just spent 4 years in the service so far. I'm 2018 batch. I spent 1 year in the training and only 3.5 years or so in the field. But as you might have seen, the experiences have been very, very diverse. This set of opportunity can't be provided by any other, I don't feel any other job or any other service. And this is true for not just me as a young officer. It is also true for a lot of other people also who have joined the service and who have had similar experiences. And in the end, I would just urge you that if any of you is also interested, you should give it a shot. It will give you deep sense of satisfaction. It will give you a very rewarding experience, which no other job or no other service can match with. And that's all from my end. Thank you.